Yeah.
Hey guys, Dave here from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with the crew.
Ryan.
Ted.
Nate.
And today we will be doing a unorthodox build killer combo suggested by MPM Matthew and Nate 3, because the other two MPM Matthew and Nates were probably taken.
Taken already. That's right.
Or there's a third,
Taken.
person that is unlisted in the trio.
Maybe. I don't know. But they wanted us to build a half-orc sorcerer.
All right, so we got a little bit of things that work well together with that build, and some things that don't work so well. Sorcerer and strength are not the typical pairing, but they get intimidate, so that's going to work with the charismatic build. So
What is the half-orc's bonus to strength? Is that their +2?
Yes, +2, and a +1 for con.
Okay.
Any race or any class, you can use con.
Any class can use con, which
It's always
is good.
helpful. Yeah.
So we talked for a moment off camera. This is the type of character that you need you want your physicals and you need your charisma. So you can pretty much say intelligence, wisdom. Bah, I'm a half-orc. I don't need those things.
I mean, you can, but what are you going to do with your strength score, really?
Well,
as a
half-orc.
sorcerer?
You're gonna be a half-orc.
What if?
And if you
what
don't
if
have that
this
good
is-
strength score, you're not gonna be a half-orc.
What if you're a melee caster and you use, all right, there's a bunch of people in front of me, fine, I'll thunder wave. Okay, well, I'm a one-on-one combat, I'm just going to smack them with my weapon, and I'll, use shield for my actual spell slots.
Okay, so for your reaction. You throw up shield.
To make use of your spell slots during combat, just shield.
But you're still only proficient in staff and...
Yeah, you don't get that.
So you're gonna want to eventually pick
Dagger.
up like barbarian or something like that as a class.
Well, you don't necessarily have to.
Or
You're-
paladin, because you're already going high in charisma.
You are already going high in charisma.
So you might want to
Good
splash
point.
paladin in this or something. So
that's kind of my point. It's like if you're going to go, melee, your spells still don't require you to use a strength score.
Yeah, there's a lot of things with just having an average strength will be beneficial for.
I mean, you could actually just
dump stat it.
drop an 8 and have a 10.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to be horrible, and then put your next two lowest in intelligence and wisdom.
Okay, so you put your 10 in intelligence, your 12 into wisdom.
And then you put your 15. I would put my 15 in con, and go with a 14 charisma,
16 con.
and then what's that leave for Dex? A 13. Which is it's not horrible. When you gain a level, you can up that Dex, or when you gain a level, you can up your charisma. Either way, you could splash, like you said, you could splash in some levels of paladin to gain armor and weapon proficiencies.
Right.
Plus,
But for this, we're looking to keeping it low. Well, we're keeping to look at it level 1. You can plot and plan where you go forward, but with the character builds, we're looking at making a level 1 guy. So we've dumped our strength to go with. All right, well, I'm average, so I'm kind of weaker, which is why I went towards the more magic-y end of things. But you're still pretty pumpty, when it comes to taking a hit.
I mean,
you still fit in with the rest of the half.
So this is deviating a little bit, but this build wouldn't be bad as a blade lock if we didn't dump strength. Just that deviates from the sorcerer.
But then that wouldn't be a sorcerer.
It wouldn't be a sorcerer, but
But they both use charisma, right?
Yeah, they both
so
use charisma.
that's an avenue to go.
yeah.
So that's something to look at for the future. So we've got our stats planned out. We've got our classes. Class of racer picked. What is our background?
So before we do background, let's do sorcerer origin.
Yeah, since it is a level 1 choice.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to need to know that. Do you go chaos because it's a half-orc and they're kind of chaotic, or do you go with he's already kind of de-optimized enough as it is.
Let me take the good sorcerer build,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Not the wackadoo one.
Well,
yeah.
for this particular one, I always lean towards the dragon. But for this, I would push towards the chaos, and kind of hope that, hey, you're already unoptimized. Maybe fortune will favor you, and
maybe you'll
get
pass
some...
your deck save on that fireball at your feet, and everyone else won't.
Yeah.
But if you want to dig into Unearthed Arcana, there is Storm.
The Storm, or
Storm.
AKA fixing the Sorcerer.
Yeah, which I mean, or Favorite Soul too. But I really see that as its own class.
Right.
But then again, like if you want it to be more melee and you want it to use the half-orc, the Favorite Soul will actually give you access to more weapons. It will give you access to armor.
Right.
It's still charisma based.
Let's stick
You could
with
use finesse weapon instead.
And it also gives you more spells too, because it gives you the domain spells, right?
Right.
Yeah, which you
So-
could choose.
You can choose a War
Tempest,
Domain
yeah,
or
or-
Tempest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I like those
So you'd be more
options,
like
but
you'd be more like a, before Warlock 2, Grumsh or something like that. You've got the Storm, you've got the magic ability, you've got the weapons and armor. So
I like those options. But
let us know if you like Favorite Soul.
I like those options, but I think for this type of video, I think we should be sticking to the PHP.
Oh no, a lot of times we don't.
Okay, well,
I'm going to choose Dragon over. I hate Wild Magic. I hate it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like making up my own charts for it, but I don't like actually the idea of saying you should pick this and play this Wild Mage thing. I'm like, no.
all right, well, Ryan,
Dragon Sorcerer.
you've actually played or are currently playing a Chaos Sorcerer.
It's all for RP because it's super underpowered. But,
Okay.
yeah. Like sometimes you launch a fireball at your feet, or you turn into a sheep or a potted plant.
All right,
All
so
these things.
all right, so then I'll put my vote towards the Storm Sorcerer. You feel Favorite Soul is it's kind of its own class. So what's your guys' vote?
Aren't we deviating from the PHP if we go Storm Sorcerer? Because Storm Sorcerer is way better than both the other Sorcerer builds combined. So yeah.
I like the tough feel that the dragon.
Yeah, no, the
Yes.
dragon. I could see the dragon if we're going straight from the PHP.
Yeah, the dragon one out of the PHP is the better.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad. It just doesn't. They just don't get enough spells.
Yeah, I mean, and you could be modeled. We don't have to make this character super goody good. You could be modeled after like the black or the green dragon, because that's sort of like I come from the swamps and I'm creepy.
Going with the green theme. You could definitely go with the green dragon and flavor some of your spells in the poison effects. You've already got the high
poison.
cons.
Do you get poison spray? Yeah, you get poison spray as a sorcerer. So
Yeah, you do.
You could definitely.
So wizard, they get dagger, which is a finesse weapon, and even though you're a half-orc, you could technically stab someone with a dagger, and if you crit, you do get your savage attack roll. It's a melee weapon.
Yeah.
3d4 plus dex bonus, baby.
Yeah, suck it.
That's like a magic missile attack.
It is only.
And you have to crit, so I mean, there's that 5% chance that could happen. Whilst you're attacking somebody in melee, which as a spellcaster you absolutely should not be doing.
But you got the AC 13 to start. You can shield when necessary.
But that pumps it up to a 14,
Yeah.
so I think you're gonna get hit kind of
What?
frequently.
Not a shield. I'm talking the shield.
Well, no,
spell.
not with a shield. Twice a day, buddy, at first level.
Really? Sorcerers only get 2? I thought they could cast more.
No,
No.
they get more cantrips.
No, they really don't get
Well,
any spells.
at second level they get
Didn't you watch our videos bashing the way that
I remember
it's
bashing
really,
the sorcerer,
really
yes.
inferior to like all the other.
But
like,
after playing one, all right, I
we're-
played a sorcerer, kind of. I
Yeah.
played the bard sorcerer mix. And I
the
like,
bard's a better sorcerer than the sorcerer. Yeah.
It does get a lot of cool extra powers. All right, so basically that stinks.
you can use your attacks with either melee weapons or your cantrips and use your first level spells for shield. I mean it's
That's what you're gonna do.
it's a viable combat tactic for this particular character build. If you really want, I mean,
When he gets higher level, though, he can then start burning his sorcery points for spell slots, and you'll get a lot of first level spells.
right. It's like, I'll cast shield again. I'll cast shield again. I'll spend a sorcery point, get him. Shield.
But that being said, if you were going to go that route, then I almost feel like you're going to want access to better weapons.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your build, yes. Looking future, you could add in these other classes that are going to build you up. That's if you decide you want to do that melee caster type of situation.
I think Weapon Master gives you a bonus to strength or dex.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, at 3rd level, you could technically take. I mean, 4th level, yeah. At 4th level, you could technically take that feat, bump your dex up to a 14, and actually, take a dex-based weapon. Well, you get to pick 3 weapons, but you could take better weapons to use if that's what you wanted to do.
So I personally, I just go, if you're looking to do that, I would just go with another class that's going to give you them. But I mean, if you wanted to just stick solely with, sorcerer, you could do that.
Yeah, well, you dip it into another class, you're going to lose a sorcery point for that.
Right.
Plus whatever spellcasting you get at that level. Right. So there's some considerations there.
Yeah, at least you're getting your dex into an even number thing, so that's
right. And you're already at a nod, so it's almost like you would kind of want to take something that gives you a +1.
Right.
And that would fulfill the weapon. That would give you a bunch of weapons to play with.
Right.
And get the dex up. So now you're at a 15 armor class before shield. That's a 20 if you actually use shield. And the great thing about shield is you're like, oh, by the way, I'm going to be hit, so let me cast shield. It's not
it's not a burn.
Yeah, or if it's magic missile, you just automatically block it.
Right.
So I think that kind of works.
And I hit AC 17. Nope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because
so going into it, if you're watching the numbers and you know how to do math, it's never a wasted spell. You know that I just stopped that attack from hitting me.
Yeah, I mean, the fantastic thing is economy of actions wise, like you rarely, except for maybe the off attack of opportunity, you rarely get to use the reaction part of your action, the suite of actions you could take. So at least doing it, it's like you feel like you've done more in the round.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it does give you like that every round. You could technically have that. Maybe absorb elements as well. If you're going with like
the full on defense.
Yeah, use these defensively when I have to.
All right, so now
and then get that damage back.
We've got the solid class picked out. What's this dude's background?
Soldier.
Or Outlander.
Soldier, Outlander. I haven't really decided on that. I was thinking about
Soldier, Outlander, Hermit.
Hermit absolutely works.
If we would have went Storm, Sorcerer, then like Sailor.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we had gone like more the.
He could
depends on what kind of half-orc thing he's coming from. I mean, he could be like an acolyte, and like rather than have mostly priests, the acolytes are actually like assistants and sorcerers, or like temple guards or something. So I could see him being an acolyte from that respect.
Well, so it depends too. Like where is he? Like you said, where is he from? Is he raised by humans, or is he raised in an orc tribe?
If you're raised with orcs, the soldier totally fits.
So does the hermit, and you can make him more like a shaman. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't heal.
Right.
He's not that kind of, he's not that kind of.
Well, that's
shaman.
why I was going for the acolyte concept. He's got the religious understanding of the tribe background, but he's not actually a cleric.
Yeah, I like that.
The problem with acolyte is very specific. It's like you're being raised in a monastery or cloister,
he could
by
be
the church.
He could be like the Dalai Lama or something like that, like an incarnation. Yeah.
I mean, you're actually like the actual benefit to being an acolyte is you can put somebody up. You and your party can be basically put up at the church. So I mean, you could do the same thing with the idea that the tribe that you're from would offer that same kind of benefit. And but it then also very much restricts you to maybe one tribe of orcs.
Right. Well, I mean,
it could be that if it's a like national religion of
like
orc tribes,
a dragon cult or something.
Yeah,
like that.
if it's if that's a big thing, or sorcerers are like considered a religious sign or something like that in the tribes, then you're automatically going to be seen as that.
I feel like it would be very different from tribe to tribe, where like if it was more like an organized religion, it tends to be more.
Well, I mean, but the features usually are very specific anyway. Like the urchins features, like specific to a city. I mean, as it should really function anyway.
Right.
The acolyte in my campaign is only gaining benefit from this because her mom owns the church. You know, like, I mean, yeah, she would get benefit from it from being an acolyte, but the minute she leaves the town, it is an absolutely useless feature. So it's kind of like that, you know, unless you're a worldwide religion.
Just be a knight and get the retainers that you can make carry torches for you and your gear.
Yeah. Build a
Your dark
tent.
vision.
Hold up this canvas so I can go to sleep.
You know, the feature from the backgrounds, like I don't try to build my characters specifically for those things. I go with what fits for the character.
Sometimes the feature is incredibly helpful to making the character a whole thing, and other times it's just like,
it's
the
fluff.
name just works for
It's
it, and
just
I
fluff.
just went with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the feature is absolutely useless, and sometimes that happens. I mean, your urchin map for a city. Once you leave the city, really, how good is that thing? It's useless.
Well, it's specific. It's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, you know, it could be that tribe was not going to slaughter your party if you happen to be present with them. So that's not going to be super helpful for an ongoing campaign. But if you ever have to come back, and
I'm done arguing about it. My vote's acolyte. You guys can convince me in some other thing.
I like Nate's idea for this character. I think it's pretty cool, and we rarely use acolyte as a background for these builds.
I feel like Nate tries to use Accolade for every build.
And do you hear how we rarely get to use acolyte for the background?
Exactly. Accolade's fine. He's a Bible thumper.
Well, just he knows religion.
He's versed because he's trained, because he's taught, because he's a sorcerer, and sorcerers have some kind of thing in their mythos.
in this tribe.
Yeah.
So there we go. Half-orc, acolyte, dragon blood, sorcerer.
It's a lot of. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like a lot of just
Adjectives thrown together.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately,
That's how it works.
Teenage Mutant Half-Orc Dragon Blood Sorcerer.
Yeah, hit means dragon blood. How awesome is that? That's like the orc. That's like totally cool for an orc tribe. That means you're automatically strong, right?
Unless you have a 10 strength. Then,
Well,
then you're kind of weak for an
You
orc.
just
Dragon blooded.
you intimidate people.
He wears a
Yeah.
medal that is like a level of intimidation there. Yeah,
So-
he's got the charisma to back up that strength.
bravado.
So there. What do you guys think? Do you like this this build?
Should we argue less on camera?
Go ahead and put your comments below. While you're doing that, feel free to click like, share, even subscribe.
You can find us over on nerdarchy.com.
While you're over on nerdarchy.com, check out Nerdarchy the store.
Let's join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time, stay
Stay
nerdy.
nerdy.